Hey guys, Eckhart Slaughter here, and today we are looking at another really fun legend story. I'm going to tell you guys about the time Han Solo killed Emperor Palpatine, and not only did he kill him, but he actually killed him for the final time. And some of you may be wondering, what do you mean for the final time? Well, obviously the Emperor was killed at the end of Return of the Jedi, and he came back through several clones, and he transferred his spirit through the Force, and that's what we're going to talk about today. And this all comes from the Dark Empire series of comics. And the Dark Empire series is probably one of the most famous Star Wars legend stories. It originally came out in 1991 and was comprised of 3 books: Dark Empire 1, Dark Empire 2, and Empire's End. And when I say books, I mean completed comic book collections. This series was fun, and it introduced some of the most famous parts of Star Wars legends, including the World Devastators, Luke turning to the dark side, the Eclipse line of Super Star Destroyers, and Emperor Palpatine being revived through the use of clone bodies. But how does this all end with Han Solo killing one of the most powerful Force users in the entire galaxy? Well, let's start from the very beginning. The story starts off 10 years after the Battle of Yavin, and the New Republic is fighting the remnants of the Empire. The Empire has just begun Operation Shadow Hand, which sees fleets of World Devastators just absolutely dominating New Republic planets. After a Force storm, Luke is sucked into a wormhole and comes face to face with Emperor Palpatine. Palpatine explains that he is an army of clones, and after his death has been working on transferring his consciousness to a new clone body. Luke would later be turned to the dark side by Emperor Palpatine, and they would board the new, very powerful Eclipse-class Super Star Destroyer. However, of course, Leia would turn Luke back to the good side, and he would fight Emperor Palpatine, ultimately cutting his hand off. At the time, the Eclipse was battling against the New Republic fleet, because this thing was basically another gigantic super weapon, and Palpatine was so angry after losing to Luke that he used a Force storm to destroy not only the entire Rebel fleet, but also the Eclipse and himself. At this point, we presume the Emperor is dead, but let's get to Dark Empire 2. Much of Dark Empire 2 is concerned with the Imperial struggles and how they are fighting each other after the Emperor's presumed death. I'm not going to really deal with that for this video, it's kind of outside the scope of what we're talking about, but just know that, of course, it comes out that Palpatine is not dead for good and he's in another clone body. He also now has access to the Galaxy Gun, a very impressive super weapon that can destroy planets from across the galaxy. And finally, and perhaps most importantly, Anakin Solo, the third child of Han and Leia, is born. This brings us to part 3 of the Dark Empire series, Empire's End. And again, I'm going to be pretty brief with this one, but it comes out the tissue that was being used to clone Palpatine's body has been sabotaged. What this means is that Palpatine's dark energy is corrupting his host body extremely quickly. And to make matters worse on his end, he only has one left. Palpatine speaks with ancient Sith Lords on Korriban and learns that Anakin Solo, the new child again of Han and Leia, is really the only chance he has to inhabit a new body. And more than just that, to continue living. Along with some other shenanigans, including, for example, the Eclipse 2 crashing into the Galaxy Gun, which is pretty badass, the comic ends with the good guys facing off against Emperor Palpatine. After killing one Jedi and seriously injuring another with his Force lightning, Palpatine is confronted by Luke, Leia, and Han. Palpatine rushes Leia, who is holding young Anakin, shouting, "Skywalker blood runs dark with the Force. I have chosen this child to inherit the rule of the galaxy." Han points his gun at Palpatine. Luke yells, "Han, wait!" and he says no over Palpatine's dead body and shoots him in the back. Palpatine is gravely injured, but Luke is distraught because he knows that this was all a part of his plan. With his physical body dead, his spirit heads towards Anakin Solo. Thankfully, the Jedi who was injured early, Empatejos Brand, captures Palpatine's spirit, holds it prisoner, and takes it with him to the netherworld of the Force, sacrificing himself. So to summarize, Han Solo was the one who killed Emperor Palpatine's final body. And although Brand, of course, played a very important role in bringing his soul to the netherworld, Han was ultimately the one who landed the final kill shot. Anyways, guys, I really hope you enjoyed this story. It's probably one of the funnest comic arcs within Star Wars Legends. I really skipped over big parts of these comics. So, for example, Han Solo meets one of his old lovers. We see Luke starting to form the new Jedi Order, and we also see a bunch of space battles and some battles on the ground. We see the World Devastators. There's a whole bunch in here. So I'm going to put a link in the description to the Empire's End trilogy on Amazon. If you purchase it from there, not only will you have a new set of comic books to read, but you'll support the channel. Also, I've got a quick question for today. What do you think of Palpatine being reborn on multiple occasions? Do you like that his soul was able to return from the netherworld of the Force basically through sheer power of will? or do you think it's a little bit cheesy? And I'd also like to know how you'd feel about clones playing a role in either Episode 8 or Episode 9. It doesn't necessarily need to be Palpatine, but perhaps some dead character comes back and starts to, cause some havoc. Anyways, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. May the Force be with you.